A suspect is now in custody.
A gunshot was heard in a university dorm.
The student's family had called to express concerns that the student might be in possession of a weapon.
Campus police conducted a welfare check.
University officials say that the officer had gone to the 19-year-old's room for a welfare check and then while there found evidence.
But the officer trying to ensure the student's safety ended up losing his life at his very hands. This is the story of Officer East Floyd Jr.
The family of the deceased officer will be in the prayers of the entire Texas Tech community.
And his perpetrator.
The suspect here, Hollis Daniels, is 19 years old.
How it all happened. To answer how it all happened, we need to answer where it all started. And it all started about 24 hours ago at a traffic stop. At around 1 a.m. on Monday, October 9th, Lubbock police pulled over a 19-year-old college student at Texas Tech University. His family owns all the movie theaters in town, and the neighbors think highly of him.
I don't know what to think about that, but he certainly seemed to be a polite, nice kid. You'd want your own son to act like that.
But this story isn't about Hollywood drama.
Hey, what's going on, man? I'm Officer Police Department. Okay, what's going on tonight, man?
Just taking it easy. How's it going?
Where were you coming from?
My buddy's house.
Hey, why don't you go step out for me, okay?
Why is that, sir?
Because we got a call about you going over there.
About who?
Huh?
Say what now?
We got a call about you causing a disturbance.
A disturbance?
Yeah, over at your friend's house.
Oh, no.
This innocent-looking 19-year-old is Hollis Daniels. But if you heard the news, you know he is nothing but innocent. It all started a few hours ago when his friend Leo noticed his gun went missing, and he asked Daniel to return it.
What's your friend's name?
Leo?
Leo?
Yeah.
Okay, why is Leo calling us, telling us you're messing with him?
Oh, I don't know. Honestly, I was going back over there to see if I could drop my phone.
Well, why is he calling us?
I'm sorry.
Huh?
I have no idea, sir. I'm sorry.
Okay.
But that's not what his friends and family remember him to be like. But funny is something he can't be in this situation. When the authorities roll up to his driver's side window, Daniels is quick to play innocent. He flat out denies making any threats and claims he had no idea about the stolen gun altogether.
Do you have any guns or any weapons in the vehicle?
No, sir.
Any drugs or anything like that?
No, sir.
Okay, so why is your buddy calling us?
I have no idea, sir. Because I guess he didn't. I don't know.
Hollis Daniels looked extremely nervous during the traffic stop. The officer tells him to get out of the car.
Well, you come out and step out here and talk to me, man, okay?
Okay. Is that necessary, sir?
Yeah, it is necessary, okay? But I gotta figure out what's going on, man. I mean, you're not in trouble right now, man. I just gotta figure out what's going on,
I
okay?
understand. Yes, sir.
Just come stand over here for me, okay?
But he resists Daniel's stutters as he stays put in his SUV. Then he starts rambling about getting into a fight with his friends over a lost cell phone.
So I went over there, and we were hanging out earlier tonight.
Okay.
And I went back over there, and we had a little dispute, and he knocked me on the floor, and so I thought that I went back and around and looked and see if my phone fell out because I lost my phone.
Okay.
And so, and it wasn't, he didn't hurt, it just, I ended up on the floor, you know, he wasn't assaulting me or anything like that, it wasn't like, but I went back to look for my thing, and he was probably I saw him looking at me out the window thinking, you know what I mean, like, you know, what's he doing here, but I was just looking for my phone real quick, but I couldn't find it, so I just headed out, and now I'm heading back to talking to him, sir.
Okay.
Daniels gets patted down and searched right there on the roadside. Shortly after, another officer arrives and asks him more sternly if there's a weapon in the vehicle.
You got a gun inside the vehicle?
Yes, sir.
You don't have a gun inside the vehicle?
No, sir.
You have a gun on your person?
No, sir.
No, I pat him down. Yeah, I pat him
Do you
down.
care if we search your vehicle?
Yes, sir, I can't review it, actually.
For a vehicle? You don't want us to search your vehicle?
Yeah, but not because I don't have a gun, I just don't, like, I don't know consent to that. It's not necessary, I'm on my way home.
No, it is necessary because right now you're involved in an investigation.
Oh, no, sir, no.
Where are you coming from?
I was coming from my buddy's house. I just explained to him. We had a little dispute. He took my phone out of my phone. It wasn't like assault or anything. He knocked my phone out, and so I went back over to his house, and I was looking for my phone to see if it was on the ground, but I couldn't find the phone there.
Hollis Daniels is completely within his rights to say no to a search of his vehicle. Even though there were reports about a stolen firearm, and authorities strongly suspected there might be one in his vehicle, they didn't have a search warrant.
You don't want me to search though?
Yes, sir.
You don't?
Yes, sir.
I cannot search your vehicle for a gun.
Yes, sir.
Without a warrant, there wasn't much else they could do. Hollis Daniels was free to go. Cops might have assumed maybe Leo played a prank on him.
And hang on to him. I'm gonna go there and see what's going on that side, and then I'll be back over here. So might as well
Just an hour later at 2 a.m., Hollis Daniels' roommate reports a gunshot. Looking back, it's clear that if his vehicle had been searched, a truly horrific tragedy could likely have been avoided altogether. Today, we delve into the story of Hollis Daniels and how this 19-year-old college student became an active shooter at Texas Tech and became a cop killer. So what turned a simple, innocent 19-year-old into a cop killer? Well, let's fast forward to 2 a.m. It's the crack of dawn on a Monday, October 9th, 2017. Over at Texas Tech University, campus police get a call about shots fired from one of the dorms. When they hustle over, the roommate of Hollis Daniels claims he apparently fired a round in his room at around 2 a.m. They even shot him a text asking what the hell happened. He replied he had dropped something, but that bang was way too loud. Eventually, Hollis confesses to his roommates that he accidentally fired a gun into his ceiling. And one of his roommates even saw him with a 9mm handgun.
He said he heard shots go off.
They heard the one gunshot, and then he texted the roommate and hear about it, and then they talked to him, and at first he said he dropped something.
He never saw the actual gun.
He says he did. For a couple seconds, he saw what looked like a 9mm handgun.
Now here's where it gets fuzzy. When the cops came knocking, Hollis was missing and they didn't barge in. Fast forward to later that day, around 6 p.m., campus police return. Leading the charge were 48-year-old Officer Floyd East Jr. and his partner, Officer Tyler Snelson.
Texas Tech Police Department. If you don't open up, we're keying in.
Officer East knocked on the door of dorm room 134 over and over. No answer. After announcing their intention to come in, Officer East whips out a key they got from the university staff and enters the dorm room. Inside, the officers announced their presence and woke up one of the roommates who must have been fast asleep.
Hey, what's up, man? What's your name?
Andy.
Andy? Is that who we're looking for?
No, we're looking for Hollis.
I just woke up. I'm sorry.
That's okay. What do you know about your partner that lives in this room down here?
Hollis Daniels?
Hollis? I don't know a whole lot about him. Really. I don't know. I haven't really hung out with these guys a whole lot.
Okay.
Did you hear it or see anything kind of weird last night in the middle of the night?
Last night?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
No, I got in kind of late last night because I went home for the weekend.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Do you happen to have your tech ID with you?
Yeah.
Just so we can log who we talked to. Thank you.
Andy explains that he was on his way back to school from his parents' place when the supposed gunshot was fired in the dorm. He genuinely seemed clueless about what's been going down. With that, he shuffles back to bed, leaving the officers to carry on with their sweep of the residence. Next stop, Hollis Daniels' room. Unlike their last visit, the officers decide to crack the door open this time, and again, no Hollis Daniels in sight. Just an empty room. Another officer joins the scene, and together they take a closer look around. That's when they spot something fishy, a mark on the wall that looks like it's been recently touched up with paint.
It looks like just a paint chip.
What's that up there? They're covered up. Okay.
Yeah, some kind of touch-up paint right there.
Right here.
Is there more touch-up? Or?
No, not there.
But then they find something even more sinister.
There's a gun right here. A revolver.
They stumble upon a revolver lying on Hollis Daniels' bookshelf. Talk about finding the unexpected. They quickly train their flashlights on a cluttered desk nearby. Loose pills, a can of CO2, and all sorts of drug paraphernalia are stuffed inside the drawers. It's like something straight out of a crime drama.
And this is...
That's a Crossman. That's a CO2.
Looks like, this is why he didn't want to answer earlier for us.
The two officers then bring the third officer up to speed.
He said he heard shots go off.
They heard the one gunshot, and then he texted the roommate and hear about it, and then they talked to him, and at first he said he dropped something, and then he said his gun accidentally went off, and then he saw two holes. And in the wall and floor,
You
possibly.
never saw the actual gun?
He says he did. For a couple seconds, he saw what looked like a 9mm handgun.
Despite what Hollis Daniels' roommates claimed earlier, the police couldn't find solid evidence that he'd fired a weapon in his room. Sure, there was that mark on the wall, possibly from a small caliber round, but nothing conclusive. So they decided to pivot their investigation toward the stuff they did find. A whole stash of illegal controlled substances in Daniels' room. Officer Snelson slips on a pair of latex gloves, and they start sifting through the drugs laid out on the desk.
But we can't tell from plain view, so we'll just go ahead and seize all
that.
Yeah, go ahead and grab a bag, and then we'll start packaging this up.
Next up on the discovery list, a pill bottle sporting a prescription label, freshly filled just a few months back. Talk about a smoking gun, or in this case, a popping pill bottle. It's another piece of the puzzle that's starting to come together.
Yeah, because it was filled on March 27th of this year, so it's for erythro. And then I don't know what those pills are, but there's another Xanax in there. And when I was looking inside this box, it looks like there's a little bag with some marijuana, maybe.
Just when the officers thought they'd hit the jackpot, they stumbled upon even more drugs. It's like every drawer they open reveals another layer to this tangled web of illegal substances. Things weren't shaping up too well for Hollis Daniels. Midway through the search, Daniels himself appears out of nowhere. In the doorway around 6:30 p.m., Hollis Daniels gave a fake name to the police. He called himself Andreas.
Hang on, what's your name, bud?
Come here, buddy. What's up? What's your name? Andreas. No, it's not. Come on.
But as soon as he lied to the officers, his roommate corrected him. He said, "No, you are not." He tries to make a quick getaway, but the police detained him. They steer him right back inside. The pat-down once inside, Daniels is instructed to sit on the couch. Officer Snelson then commands him to stand up.
Here, stand up for me real quick. Do you have any weapons or anything on you? Interlace your fingers on top of your head.
What is this called?
Keep your hands right there, okay? I'll explain it to you as soon as I get done. Spread your feet out a little for me. What's all in this pocket?
Money?
Money? Yeah, I can take it out?
Yeah.
I'm just going to put it all on the couch, okay? Is it okay to just empty out all your pockets while we're doing this?
Do you have?
Don't move your hands.
No, is that necessary?
I'm asking you a question.
No, I don't consent to it, no.
Okay.
Officer Snelson starts patting him down. Officer Snelson carefully fishes out a wad of cash from Hollis Daniels' pocket. Meanwhile, Officer East keeps a watchful eye from a safe distance, ensuring everything goes down by the book. From the shaky tone of Daniels' voice, it's clear he's rattled. He hesitates when the officer asks about weapons and stumbles over his words when questioned about searching his pockets. Daniels even tries to play the "I do not consent" card, but Officer Snelson presses on, unfazed. As the routine search continues, Officer Snelson's body cam captures the moment when he finds a prescription pill bottle tucked away on Daniels' person. It's another piece of the puzzle falling into place.
What kind of pills you got in that bottle?
This is my prescription. I have antidepressant Prozac.
Prozac?
Yes, sir.
And you don't, then this is what you don't want me to pull out of your pants then in there?
Oh, no, you can.
I can take that pill bottle out?
It's just my Prozac.
The body camera lens gets a bit obscured by Daniels' clothing during this part of the search. But according to the report, the officers are doing a thorough job, focusing on Daniels' waistline, pants pockets, and pant legs. Every nook and cranny is getting checked out.
You understand my skepticism when you say,
Of course.
I can empty that pocket, I can empty part of this pocket, and so what's your real name then?
Hollis Allen James Daniels.
Why'd you give us a fake name?
Okay, because I don't know what's going on.
Officer East stands firm in the doorway, keeping a close eye on Daniels. East even instructs the 19-year-old to face forward repeatedly, a standard safety precaution in such situations. After uncovering the cash and pill bottle in Daniels' pockets, Officer Snelson allows him to take a seat back on the couch. Officer East then steps in, initiating a conversation with Daniels about the alleged indoor firing incident from earlier.
Today we came by, we had an order of marijuana coming from this room. Had an order of marijuana coming from this room.
6:25 time.
Knocked on the door, someone locked it, so we left. Then we also got a report of the gunshot.
343, that subject that we flagged the
That's what we got
ID for,
reported.
came
So
by the
we came
room
in
while
here,
we were
make sure
processing
everyone's
it.
okay.
6:35, speaking with you now.
Yeah.
So what happened last night?
There was no gunshot in here.
That's what we're told.
By who?
Somebody that heard it.
So yeah.
Oh no. Yeah, I didn't. No, yeah, I didn't. I wasn't even here last night. I was over at my buddy 28th Street. In fact, I got pulled over last night on the way back from 28th Street.
The officers can tell he's not being entirely truthful, and when Hollis Daniels senses it too, he decides to come clean about him being pulled over by the Lubbock police the night before. Daniels wonders if there's anything else he should be sweating over. He's likely caught on that the cops have already turned his room inside out.
Is there anything else that
Also, with the welfare check, we came into the room, and there's all sorts of drug paraphernalia everywhere.
Okay.
So you can go ahead and pull that for you.
Okay. So okay.
Also, you have pills, prescription bottle that doesn't belong to you.
Okay.
Can you explain that?
No, sir.
Yeah, that's a Miranda.
What's up?
He's just gonna read you your rights before we ask any more questions, okay?
So this is just about the pot then, huh?
Yeah, he'll get to all that. Just because he's reading you this doesn't mean you're under arrest. It's just we want you to be aware of your rights before you answer any more questions.
So am I getting a ticket or am I getting arrested?
No, this doesn't mean you're getting arrested. He's just gonna interview you.
But
So what's going on with all the stuff in your room?
I smoke pot sometimes, they said, and I have a few pills in there, they said.
After Officer East confronts Daniels about the pills and prescription bottle not issued in his name, he reads his Miranda rights. Officer Snelson's body cam captures Daniels sitting on the couch, visibly uneasy. It's crystal clear that he's aware he's in some legal hot water now. Daniels then asks if he's getting a ticket or if he's under arrest. Officer Snelson's response is a bit cryptic, stating they need to ask a few more questions first.
Yeah, he'll get to all that. Just because he's reading you this doesn't mean you're under arrest. It's just we want you to be aware of your rights before you answer any more questions.
So am I getting a ticket or am I getting arrested?
No, this doesn't mean you're getting arrested. He's just going to interview you.
Officer East presses Daniels once again about the contraband found in his room. Daniels tries to downplay the situation, claiming he only smokes weed occasionally and had just a few pills on him. But to a cop's eyes, those loose Xanax pills spell trouble. Depending on the quantity, it could easily land him with a felony drug charge, especially in Texas. At this critical moment, Daniels should have clammed up. But instead, he sticks his foot in his mouth, answering Officer Snelson's next question.
So you don't have a prescription for Xanax? Because that's a lot of Xanax for one person.
Well, I'm not distributing it or anything.
Hollis Daniels, right there on camera, spills the beans about having those illegal substances. He tries to save face by saying he's just using the drugs for personal use, not selling them. But it's not much of a lifeline.
Well, what do you use the CO2 gun for?
Honestly, I haven't even loaded it since I got here. Back home, we used to just shoot squirrels and stuff. I thought it'd be kind of fun, but then I realized I got here, there's not many squirrels here, you know what I'm saying? So, and then plus it's probably not good having to go on campus like that.
Well, it's just, you know, it kind of
looks like...
Whenever we first went in, that was one of the first things we saw, and it's kind of like, with the information we had at the time, it's kind of like, you know, it looks bad at first sight. I mean, it is bad. We've seen, I can't even tell you how many CO2 guns I've seen doing this, but, you know, most of the time it's kind of in a drawer or something.
That long barrel revolver the officer stumbled upon on Daniel's bookshelf. It's actually a harmless CO2-powered pellet gun and not a full-on illegal firearm. Daniels then fires off another question, asking the officer about the legality of searching his room.
So y'all are legally allowed to unlock my room whenever there's a gunshot.
Yeah, if we're doing a check to make sure that, you know, for life purposes,
right, of course,
an emergency purpose like that, we can.
He tries to use the traffic stop as an alibi, arguing that he couldn't have possibly fired a gun in his dorm room because at the time, he was getting pulled over by the Lubbock police several blocks away.
What time did the gunshot go off again? Last night?
Mm-hmm.
And last night I was getting. What time did the shot go off? Because if you look up the police reports from Officer, what's his name? It was Duckworth, Officer Duckworth. We went through this whole thing.
Did he write you a ticket or anything?
He didn't write me a ticket. He let me go because the whole situation was they thought that I stole their gun, and so then they fucking and so then they went and searched my car. You can look and I see you can look at his what time he pulled me over, and I bet that whatever time the gunshot was reported won't actually, because that wasn't.
It was Duckworth?
Duckworth, yes, sir.
With the Lubbock Police Department?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Daniels claims he got pulled over because his pals had called the cops, claiming he'd stolen one of their guns from a nearby house just hours before. To the officers, it feels like an incredibly specific and, frankly, too coincidental detail considering the circumstances. Tech police won't piece it all together until later down the line when it's too little, too late. Daniel's story and the timeline he's spinning just don't quite mesh. Sure, he was pulled over by the police around 1 a.m. on Monday, October 9th, just like he claims. But his roommates reported the gunshot closer to 2 a.m., about an hour later.
Go ahead and stand up. Am I under arrest? Sure.
You show it 635, 1095 with that subject for possession of controlled substance.
Damn, how long is that? What's the bond and stuff, you know?
I don't know. We'll have to. It all depends on the weight and how much of the pills there are to kind of determine the.
As Officer East puts the handcuffs on Daniels, the body camera captures Daniels reaching into his pants pocket with his hands behind his back. As he's led towards a squad car, Daniels asks if he can tie his shoe while they're still in the hallway. The officer denies Daniels' request, explaining that it's not a long walk. They keep walking until they reach a police cruiser parked outside.
Can I tie my shoe, sir?
We don't got a long walk. We're going to be right there. All right, go ahead and have a seat. Yes, sir.
Daniels is told that he'll be taken to the university's police station first before being transported and booked into the county jail.
It'll be a short ride. All right. I'm going to take you to Texas Tech PD. We'll do some paperwork, and then we'll transfer you to county. It shouldn't take too long.
What seemed like a routine arrest of a college student caught with illegal drugs was about to get really ugly. 19-year-old Hollis Daniels arrived at the Texas Tech police station around 7:10 p.m. on Monday, October 9th, 2017. Given his relatively polite and compliant behavior with the police, up to this point, an officer informs Daniels that his handcuffs will be removed as they enter the building.
If you cooperate with me, we'll go ahead and pull these cuffs off a little bit, okay?
Around 7:14 p.m., Officer East unlocks Daniels' restraints, and Daniels is led into a small briefing room. For a while, Officers Snelson and East, along with Daniels, are all in the room together. But soon, Officer Snelson heads back to his office. At 7:24 p.m., a security camera inside the briefing room captures Daniels alone and unsupervised. He's sitting in a chair, looking around, and slowly reaching toward his right pant leg. Later, Officer Floyd East Jr. re-enters the room and sits at a computer desk next to Daniels. Less than half an hour later, as Officer East is entering Daniels' information into the database, a single gunshot echoes through the room at approximately 7:44 p.m. Officer Snelson hurries down the hallway and into the briefing room where Daniels was being processed. But as he turns the corner, he's met with a devastating sight. His partner, Officer East, slumped over in his chair. The suspect, 19-year-old Hollis Daniels, is nowhere in the room. Officer Snelson's radio call to dispatch reports an officer down and a suspect on the run. He returned to the hallway, this time with his gun drawn. He scans the remaining rooms of the police station, frantically searching for Hollis Daniels.
Clear, I'm about to 25 with you at the end of the briefing hallway. I need you to help me clear this building.
Snelson and another officer cautiously entered the men's bathroom, looking for Hollis Daniels. Authorities realize Daniels is gone. EMS arrives too late.
Officer Floyd East Jr. joined the Texas Tech Police Department in 2014, working as a guard at the Health Sciences Center in El Paso while training to get his peace officer's license. He was a full-time police officer at the Lubbock campus for only 5 months before he was killed. He was 48 years old and leaves behind a wife and 2 daughters.
Officer Floyd East Jr., age 48, succumbs to the gunshot wound while sitting at the computer chair inside the Texas Tech University police station. Authorities had no clue where Hollis Daniels was. They also had no idea how he got the weapon used to kill Officer East. When Officer Snelson found Officer East's lifeless body, his firearm was still secured and holstered to his hip. What was missing was his police-issued body cam, which seemed to have been torn off his uniform. Additionally, a single .45 caliber shell was found near the victim's body. Units from state, local, and federal agencies were quickly dispatched as the hunt for 19-year-old Hollis Daniels began. Officer Snelson was later questioned by Lubbock police back at the Texas Tech station. The officer taking the report then asked Officer Snelson about the initial search of Hollis Daniels and if he had been thoroughly patted down before he was taken into custody. After a 90-minute manhunt, Hollis Daniels was finally spotted at 9:08 p.m., less than a mile away from where the shooting took place. He was spotted at the Citibank Coliseum. Daniels tried to make a run for it, but a Texas Tech police officer caught up to him and tackled him to the ground. As Daniels was arrested, Officer East's partially damaged body camera was found nearby. A loaded .45 caliber handgun, believed to be the murder weapon, was also discovered in a drainage area close to the Texas Tech police station. While being taken into custody, Hollis Daniels reportedly made the following statement to one of the arresting officers. That friend was Floyd East Jr., born on August 14, 1969, to parents Gloria and Floyd Sr. He spent most of his adolescent years in El Paso, Texas. After graduating from Andrew High School in 1988, Floyd went on to earn his associate's degree in microcomputer technology in 2001. Years later, he entered the police academy before taking a job as a Texas Tech University police officer. Floyd was adventurous. He liked to surf and scuba dive. On land, he enjoyed rebuilding cars and was an expert carpenter. He was also a volunteer, regularly visiting sick children dying of cancer in the hospital. He is remembered as a family man who devoted his life to his wife Carmen and their 2 daughters, Anna and Monica. Hours after his life was tragically taken in the line of duty, the now confessed shooter, Hollis Daniels, was allowed to have his handcuffs removed once again. Not only that, he was allowed access to his personal cell phone, at which time he decided to call his sister just after 11 p.m. on the night of the murder.
I'm getting on the phone with a criminal defense attorney. I would really advise you not to say anything.
Yeah, on the cool, I haven't been saying anything.
Huh?
I haven't been saying anything really.
Okay.
But there's pretty solid proof against me is the problem.
I know that. I know that, Rich. And I know that you think that doesn't matter, but I'm telling you, it just, no.
I don't, you know me, Carrie, you know me. I'm not gonna say shit to. I supported someone who assaulted me yesterday. I said no, he didn't assault me. All right, can I talk to Dad?
Yeah.
His sister advises him not to say anything more to the police without a lawyer. Hollis then asks if he can speak to their father.
Hey, Dad, I love you.
I love you too, son.
I'm just taking I'm just taking it easy right now. We're waiting for something to happen. I think they're gonna take me to county jail.
Daniel's father can be heard apologizing to his son for not being there and hoping he hasn't let him down. He reassures his son they'll face this together. During their conversation, Hollis Daniels seems disconnected from reality, mentioning he might get kicked out of Texas Tech for what he's done. The question of when and how Hollis Daniels obtained the firearm used to kill Officer East remained unanswered. The murder weapon was a .45 caliber handgun, the same type of gun that Daniels' friends had reported stolen 2 days before the murder. The police chief of Lubbock, Texas, Greg Stevens, defended his officers during a press conference regarding the traffic stop and the likely presence of the gun in Daniels' SUV at the time. But this doesn't clarify how Daniels managed to enter the Texas Tech police station with the weapon. He underwent a search and pat-down. When Lubbock Police Chief Greg Stevens allowed questions, This was the primary inquiry on the minds of local media outlets. These vague responses can be frustrating, but are necessary during the initial phases of a criminal investigation.
On October 9, 2017, Daniels recalled that he walked into his dorm room and police officers were there. He had the gun that he'd stolen from his friend the night before in his waistband.
However, what the police chief didn't disclose at that time was that during the search at the dorm, the stolen .45 caliber handgun was concealed in Hollis Daniels' waistband.
He next remembered the first pat-down in his dorm room from Officer Snelson when the gun was still in his waistband.
As he was being frisked, the gun slipped and ended up in Daniels' crotch area. Each time Officer Snelson searched an area of the suspect's body, he narrowly missed contact with the gun. During the search, the weapon gradually slid further down Daniels' pants until it wedged at the bottom of his pant leg.
Daniels says, quote, "In my memory, my pants were sagging. He pulled my pants up and the gun fell into my crotch area." He says Officer Snelson kept missing it and that every time the officer touched a part of his leg, the gun kept moving even further down his leg.
This likely explains why he requested to tie his shoe on the way to the squad car. Somehow, Daniels managed to prevent the gun from falling out completely until he was seated in the back of the cruiser. Then, a thud was heard as the gun landed by Daniels' feet on the police car floor during the drive from the dorm to the campus police station.
On the car ride to the Texas Tech Police Department with Officer East after being arrested at Talkington Hall, Daniels remembers the thud sound of the gun falling in the back of the car. He says, quote, "I was looking for a place to hide it." He'd somehow managed to get the gun back up to his waistband, even in handcuffs.
Daniels manipulated his handcuffs enough to access the gun, which he then concealed in his shoe and right ankle. Upon arrival at the police station, Daniels was released from his restraints. At 7:44 p.m. on October 9, 2017, he quietly retrieved the handgun from his right pant leg. While Chief Greg Stevens declined to comment on Texas Tech police policy regarding Daniels' release from handcuffs, he did acknowledge mistakes that were made, ultimately resulting in Officer Floyd East Jr.'s murder.
He was searched during his time in custody, but again, unfortunately, he was able to gain access to a weapon.
Hollis Daniels faced charges of capital murder in the shooting death of Officer Floyd East Jr. He was held on a $5 million bond as he was transferred to the LCK County Detention Center. As the trial progressed, the courtroom buzzed with tension. Each witness called to testify added another layer to the unfolding tragedy. The prosecution painted a vivid picture of Daniels' actions, presenting damning evidence of his guilt. Meanwhile, the defense sought to humanize the accused, shedding light on his troubled past.
One man who considered himself to be one of Daniels' best friends said he knew Daniels struggled with depression for years and that it had gotten progressively worse, especially the summer before Daniels' sophomore year in college. In fact, he testified that Daniels didn't want to return to Texas Tech, but didn't want to disappoint his parents.
The defense also shed light on his mental health struggles. Throughout the trial, the defense labored to humanize Hollis Daniels, depicting him as a troubled soul battling inner demons.
Those who had known Daniels the longest testified that he was kind-hearted, inclusive, and funny.
They highlighted his privileged upbringing, emphasizing his family's status in their community.
The state, through cross-examination, reinforced that Daniels grew up in a loving family. He had all of his needs met.
Daniels' attorneys painted a picture of a young man grappling with mental health issues, seeking comfort in religion and the support of loved ones. Witnesses, including friends and family members, testified to Daniels' struggles and the shock they experienced upon learning of his heinous crime.
One man who considered himself to be one of Daniels' best friends said he knew Daniels struggled with depression for years.
A former psychiatrist shed light on Daniels' psychological state, citing his depression and the influence of medication. Daniels' father took the stand, revealing his son's troubled past and the tragic loss that deeply affected him. Despite warning signs and professional advice, Daniels' parents insisted on his return to Texas Tech, unaware of the severity of his mental health decline. Their decision, tragically, led to devastating consequences.
There was a lack of everyday parental control. Von Dwyer tells the jury about a man by the name of AC, who was one of the family's employees that would end up moving in with the Daniels. AC and Daniels were very close, but the summer before he would go back to Tech for his sophomore year, AC got hit by a car on his bike and later died.
On the 11th day of the trial, Hollis Daniels took the stand, offering a glimpse into his troubled past. He recounted a childhood marred by bullying and the influence of music glorifying drug use and rebellion. Daniels confessed to a downward spiral into substance abuse, fueled by a desire to escape reality and find comfort in the darkness. During his testimony, Daniels confessed to robbing someone at gunpoint for Xanax pills, intending to overdose and end his life. The courtroom watched in horror as the body cam footage captured the brutal murder. Daniels callously questioned him about his children. When asked why he asked about his children, Daniels claimed he believed mentioning Officer East's family would provide a comforting final thought. Officer East's grieving family members left the courtroom in tears hearing the remark. When questioned about why he killed Officer East, Daniels struggled to provide a rational explanation, stating, "Before stepping down, Daniels expressed a change of heart, no longer wishing to die but recognizing the jury's role in determining his fate."
I think it's totally fair to say a life for a life. But then on the other hand, I think about my family, and the truth is I'm biased in my own favor. I don't want to die, not anymore.
After weeks of testimony and deliberation, the jury reached a verdict on February 24th, 2023.
Karen, after 20 hours of deliberating, the jury did deliver a sentence. They sentenced Hollis Daniels III to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
In the end, Hollis Daniels was spared from death but condemned to spend the rest of his days behind bars in a state prison. During the victim impact statements, Floyd East Jr.'s sister addressed Daniels directly, looking him in the eye.
She looked Hollis Daniels directly in the eye and she said, "This is to you. You have the privilege to be anything in life you choose to be, but you chose to be a cop killer. Not only did you choose to take our brother's life, but Floyd was everybody's brother here, a kind, loving man, a man that treated you with respect, and in return, you showed him no mercy."
When asked if he had anything to say to the victim's family, Daniels simply replied, "No, not right now." He was sentenced to spend the remainder of his life behind bars in a Texas state penitentiary. Floyd East Jr.'s wife, Carmen, expressed gratitude for the community's support over the years and urged for peace and respect among individuals. She emphasized that guns are not the problem, but rather the lack of humanity and respect for each other. Daniels' defense attorney acknowledged the tragedy of the situation, recognizing that there were no winners.
Obviously, this case was a tragedy. Regardless of the jury's verdict of life in prison, there are no winners. The East family lost a fine man.
He expressed appreciation for the jury's careful deliberation and accepted the verdict of life in prison. In conclusion, the tragic events surrounding the murder of Officer Floyd East Jr. by Hollis Daniels shook the Texas Tech community and reverberated across the nation. While Daniels was spared from the death penalty, he faces a lifetime behind bars for his heinous crime. The aftermath of this senseless act serves as a reminder of the profound impact of violence on families, communities, and society as a whole. Thank you for joining us at Crime Explorer for this episode. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe Crime Explorer for more content. Stay safe, and until next time, take care.